Hi, welcome to TigerGraph's use case studies. My name's Carl Boudreau. As a software solution provider for 22 years, my biggest challenge was delivering complex solutions faster and faster in order to meet and exceed customer expectations. That was until I found and used TigerGraph. Let's explore some use cases so you will understand why I'm so passionate about teaching an emergent technology like TigerGraph. This use case is near and dear to my heart. Prior to coming to TigerGraph, I was working at UnitedHealth Group for 7 years. The story that you see here is real. They were managing 200 million calls annually. The customer service representative was struggling to pull in all of the data that they needed to provide great customer care to their members. Patient information for over 50 million patients was held in so many different places that it was a struggle to go and query all of those data sources to return the data that our customer service reps needed to provide better healthcare to our members. Our call center staff had no real-time care path solutions for those members. So when a member called in, they generally had to be placed on hold while the service rep was searching for that information, or they were told that they would get a call back as soon as the service rep was able to find the information that the member was looking for. Once UnitedHealth Group adopted TigerGraph, they now had access to the member's full medical history at any one point in time in the call. This reduced the amount of time that our members were on the phone by 10%, which was huge when you're dealing with 200 million calls a year. This also led to an improved call experience for our members. Now, can you imagine calling your insurance company and leaving that call 30% happier? And happier customers made happier service representatives. Our providers, our coordinators, and our specialists, they all benefited. Now, my mom's 95. When she calls in to talk to a customer service rep, that customer service rep has the complete history of my mom's medical history, medication, visits, which providers she's seen. In one call, the customer service representative recognized that my mom could take advantage of a cheaper medication that did the same thing, and that actually saved my mom a lot of money. My mom, being 96 now, of course, has a hearing issue. So communicating with her provider is kind of an issue. The customer service representative said, "We noticed that you haven't seen your provider for XYZ service. Would you like me to make an appointment for you?" That's incredible. That's adding value to my mom. This is another use case that I'm very familiar with. I contracted with this bank a couple of years ago for a year. It's a large retail bank with over 2,800 branches, $20 billion, 60,000 employees. It's a full-fledged banking system. They deal with commercial banking, private banking, investments, mortgages, trusts, payment services for consumers, the credit card, and ATM transactions and stuff. They were getting fined over $500 million in AML violation. The bank wanted to improve its anti-laundering money capabilities, increasing the accuracy, providing some insights, uncovering those deep link or non-obvious relationships. Specifically, they wanted to improve the connection situation between their starting point of an investigation and the ending point of that investigation to find out how the investigation is progressing over time, how to improve their steps toward investigating crime, and in order to determine whether they should, take immediate action on a real-time threat, or probably hibernate that threat, wait, maybe collect a little bit more information on it before taking any action, or probably escalate it for further actions. Okay. When they brought TigerGraph into their ecosystem, they were able to avoid any major financial fines. The improvement in the identification of tracking connections between work items, those are the possible fraudulent activities, was increased, and they were able to react in real time. This is increasing their accuracy by 10%, which is resulting $20 million saved annually due to a more productive investigation workforce. Saves $2 to $4 million a year by avoiding fines from the regulators. TigerGraph has been such a not great return on their investment. This bank doesn't want to be named. They don't want their competitors to know the secret sauce. However, I can tell you, TigerGraph is the secret sauce. Now, Jaguar Land Rover is a British multinational automotive company. You're probably very well familiar with the Jaguar logo or Land Rover logo. They produce about 100,000 luxury vehicles a year. Their annual revenue is close to $23 billion and is employing a little under 40,000 people right now. JLR was incurring significant margin impacting fines from its vendors or from the source. Think about this. If you are building 100,000 cars a year, you're going to need 400,000 tires. You're going to need 100,000 engines. Now imagine, if you know you're going to build 100,000 cars, you're going to need 100,000 engines. You're going to want to get the best price for those engines. Therefore, you're going to create a contract with a vendor who can supply those engines for you. So now let's say that you are forecasting selling 100,000 cars. Everything is great, but what happens if that forecast changes? Let's say a healthcare epidemic takes over the world and not too many people are buying cars anymore. Maybe you're forecasting only selling 50,000 cars. So what happens to the vendor who went and produced 100,000 engines and you're only going to buy half of those engines? So it's better to have real-time analytics in place to react to the changes in forecast. So when a healthcare epidemic would hit and you're forecasting that there's going to be a reduction in your car sales down to 50,000, then you can get on the phone with all of your suppliers and say, hey, sorry, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to purchase the entire 100,000 engines. We're only going to be able to get 50,000 engines. Let's talk about price break on 50,000 engines versus getting fined for not purchasing 100,000 engines. This was causing Jaguar a $358 million loss. When they brought in TigerGraph, they were able to reduce that loss from $358 million down to $100 million. One query that's running in TigerGraph saved the company $25 million a year with just one query. Having up-to-date and highly qualified information allows your business to be able to manage your supply chain. Now, Jaguar Land Rover know exactly how many cars that they can build with the parts that they have on hand. They can also identify bottlenecks. They can also combat shortages. So as you can see, when Jaguar Land Rover implemented TigerGraph, it had a large impact on their return on their investment. So here's a use case that is doing fraud management, entity resolution, recommendation engine for services and products. So China Mobile has 70% of the Chinese market for mobiles. That's huge, right? Yeah, they're over 700 billion. I don't know if that's dollars or yens. I've got it as dollars. But they've got over 450 employees. But the part that I am super surprised about is they have 70 million numbers with a 15 billion history call record. That's a lot of data. That's 1,000 calls per second. That's incredible. However, they lost $5 billion in fraud and phishing calls in just 1 year. Their big data, their machine learning team needed more accurate data for them to build better models. And those models are, if you notice down here, need to maintain a real-time list of blacklists and whitelists. So let me put that in perspective. Getting a call from a number that you blocked, well, you've already told your mobile vendor that you don't want that call. So when that call is being transferred to you, they're actually doing a lookup into your whitelist or your blacklist, which is incredible, right? 70 billion numbers, and each one of them may have a blacklist or a whitelist, that they just don't want to receive calls from that person anymore, so they blocked that person. A way that they were going to tackle this was to create clusters of people. Okay, now, once they brought TigerGraph into their system, they were able to block 1,000 of those cases, with some of those cases being blocked live. They were able to improve their identification accuracy to 99% whitelist and 80% of the blacklist, which is huge. They had a 60% reduction in call spam across their 70 million subscribers, and an 80% increase on the product recommendations. So when a member or a customer would call their service desk, that service desk could also recommend other services for their members. Using TigerGraph, they were able to build that cluster. They were able to provide the data that their machine learning team really need. And that caused them to win the Technical Breakthrough Award for 2020 within the China Mobile group. So huge success for China Mobile using TigerGraph. So those were just some of the successful use case stories. We have many, many more. On the left-hand side, you can see that the list is scrolling on and on and on. And I invite you to click on this QR code and go explore more and learn how TigerGraph and the use cases that we serve can help your company. Thank you.